Well, greetings, Boise State fans. Welcome on in the Matt Bauscher Show here, Bronco Nation News, sponsored, of course, by Bauscher Real Estate. Make sure you check out BauscherRealEstate.com for all your real estate needs. And, of course, that means Matt Bauscher is with us. Going to try to make this a little more regular now on Wednesdays here through the course of the Mountain West season. And, Matt, if last night was any indication, man, we're going to have a lot of exciting games to be talking about here the next couple of months.
Two conference games and both came down to shots made with 3 seconds left. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's wild. Yeah, for a Tuesday night. I mean, 8,100 people got a really good game last night who showed up.
Yep, and we saw you there courtside getting into it, man. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, the third deck, as you said, wasn't full. There weren't a lot of students, obviously, with break, but those that were there, especially in the second half, got loud. And that was a game, Matt, that they had to win. I mean, I know you can't. It's hard to call it must win for the second conference game, on January 3rd, but you didn't want to start 0-2. You got a tough schedule coming up. I mean, that was a must win game, and started good, then obviously in the second half had a lull, but got it done with Marcus Shaver Jr. What were just your thoughts on the game last night?
I thought the defense executed well, limiting them to just 4 3-pointers, and our offense had those lapses that we have where we don't score for 4 or 5 minutes and we let them right back in it. But that San Jose State team is good. They're the only team, I believe, in the country that's had the same starting lineup for every single game. And you could tell, I mean, between the alley-oop dunks and the ball movement, I can see why they're 2-0. They were 2-0 in conference.
What'd you make of the hot start and then kind of the lull there in the second half? What'd you see when San Jose State, I think, went on a 26-11 run there to actually take the lead? I know Marcus Shaver Jr. was out for part of that with the injury, but what'd you see with San Jose State making a run there in the second half?
They were tough. I mean, we knew they were going to make a run, and I think, we got to try to get to the free throw line more. We shot 7 free throw attempts, and when our threes aren't going, I mean, Tyson and Shaver were 0 for 8 until the game winner. So, to be in a position while we don't shoot the ball particularly well on a night like that shows our defense is going to keep us in every single game. But I hope that we can get a little more versatile and get some easier buckets and get to the free throw line to try to get rhythm. And some of those guys seeing the ball go in from the free throw line might translate to, jump shots.
Well, it all, back and forth game. Tyson hits the 1 free throw and ties the game. They get the steal, and it all comes down to Marcus Shaver Jr. at the end of the game. What were your thoughts on the final 3-pointer, the final play from Shaver here, Matt?
Craig Shoemaker came over to me during the timeout. He goes, "What do we do?" And I said, "Give the ball to Marcus Shaver, let him shoot it. The game's over." And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the entire arena, when he shot it, everyone thought it was going in, and that's normally a good play call when everyone in the building likes the shot and thinks it's going to go in.
I mean, there was a little bit of a play, but it was mostly just let Marcus do his thing, and we saw it 4 times last year, obviously. I mean, what is it about just, I guess a tie game is better than when you're losing in that spot, right? Knowing that if he misses, you just go to overtime. But I mean, what is it about Shaver and just the fact that everyone in the arena, including the other team, knows what's happening, and he still steps back and hits that 3?
I told him after, I said, "You're a cold-blooded assassin. You have no mercy." But I mean, they had their big guard on him. He's one of their best defenders, number 10, and he almost breaks his ankles here on the step back. I mean, it's like he's on ice. He's kind of slides over, and when he let it go and he left the follow through up there, you just knew it was money.
And obviously that was as loud as we've heard the arena going back to last year probably. But what does it take, man? Obviously being a shooter yourself back in the day, I mean, what does it take for a guy like that? He said last night in the postgame with us that he kind of just feels like he's at the park, going 3-2-1 Kobe like everybody else and letting it fly. But to be calm in that situation, to have the crowd on its feet, the clock winding down, and just to see, once or twice is one thing, but to see it 4 times last year, to see it again now that already once this year, and that 4 last year doesn't even count the Colorado State game where he tied it to go to overtime, then they lost the game. But I mean, he actually did it, 5 times, I think it was, 4 or 5 times. What just take people that don't know and have never been in that situation. What's that like, and how is he able to continue to just stay calm and not let the moment get too big for him?
Your adrenaline's high, and if you start thinking about all the different scenarios and you start getting very monotonous with your head, you're going to shoot tighter, you're not going to be relaxed. He's completely at ease. It is like he's at the park. I mean, he doesn't feel the pressure. When we were at the Utah State game last year, he hadn't hit a shot the whole game on the line, and you would have thought he hit 10 in a row. And that's rare, especially with 18 to 22-year-old college kids, is being so in the moment and just being at ease. It's special to watch because it's, you don't see players like this very often.
Here's Marcus Shaver Jr. talking about that shot after the game.
Good. We had to tough that one out. Yeah, it's my first game winner at home, and it felt good to hit one in front of the home crowd. So I'm really calm. Been in that situation a lot. It's just like I'm at the park, just getting up shots, like 3, 2, 1, Kobe. You know that. So that's what I do.
With you in that Nevada game, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They inbounded to you immediately. Is there any way you were giving that up?
Nah, no chance.
That was as loud as I've heard the arena in a while, and you had your hands in the air. What's better, silencing the road crowd or having that loud home crowd?
I think silence is still better. I love that silence, but it was my first time hearing the arena get this loud, and it was good.
Hadn't realized that, Matt, but all 4 of them, I mentioned the Colorado State one, but they lost that game in overtime. The rest of them, Utah State, Fresno, San Diego State, I think I'm missing one. I mean, they were all on the road last year. So that was, like I said, he silenced the road crowd, and yesterday he got a chance to experience that moment in front of the home crowd.
I mean, how excited are you as a season ticket holder where you're in the Mountain West and everybody coming into Extra Mile Arena is really, really good this year? I mean, we have Utah State on Saturday, then they go to Vegas, they go to Wyoming, and then we get some home games. But I mean, every game is going to be a dogfight, and it's going to come down to the last 5 minutes. And as a fan, what more can you ask for?
I mean, I guess we're cool with it at this point, right? Just give it to Shaver and get out of the way. I mean, there's really no reason to ever do anything different at this point.
Yeah, and he's going to switch it up. You know, their coaches are going to be saying he's going to, do a step back, and he's going to blow right by him and hit a mid-range or drive in and pass. And Najee hit a huge 3. The only 3 he took the whole game was buckets, in crunch time too. The other guys are going to be ready. I mean, you give the ball to any of them, they're going to also hit the shot.
And he missed 4 or 5 games, I think it was. Missed most of December due to the injury. Came back against Nevada. Obviously, they lost the game, but you saw the impact he had there. You saw what he did yesterday. I mean, I know it's an obvious answer, but how much better is this team when Marcus Shaver Jr. is out there on the floor?
Oh, it's a world of difference in so many aspects. I mean, he's incredible, and I like him and Jace on the course together. I mean, Jace came in and he was a nice spark on the bench. He's not scared of anything. You wouldn't think he's a true freshman.
Let's hear a quick bite from Leon Rice talking about Marcus Shaver, one of the clutchest players he's ever coached.
We actually talked about that, because we reviewed some of the things we did our last game, and and we talked about some of the mistakes we made, and we talked about and showed film on it a little bit of I've got I got a lot of clutch guys, and it's not just him too. I got guys that I've watched for a long time that are really, really clutch, and but he takes it to another level. I mean, he's maybe one of the most clutch players I've ever coached, and when he snapped that off the way he did, man, I knew it was good. When that ball started spinning, I was like, that's good. It just looked right, and he was in rhythm, and and he's Marcus Shaver.
There you go. He's Marcus Shaver. So when he takes the shot, it's going in. He's coached a lot of talented players, as over the years at Boise State and even over at Gonzaga. To say he's one of the most clutch shooters, that's a nice praise there.
The amount of NBA guys he's coached. I mean, at Gonzaga, every year they had multiple NBA guys. That's saying a lot. I mean, that's a huge compliment to Shaver.
Now let's, besides Shaver, and he was obviously the main story, we're always looking to nitpick and find things that can be better moving forward. Guys that, are doing good and things like that or need to step up. But a couple things. One I know is the bench. We talked in our lengthy, hour plus pre-show meeting before we started here about the bench. And that's something that 2 games in a row, they really haven't gotten much from the bench. I mean, is this sustainable? I mean, are the 5, 6 they have good enough that's all they need, or what are you making from the lack of production on the bench right now?
We need to develop some more confidence from some of those guys, some of the guys that go in there and provide a spark. And, it's hard coming off the bench too. You're not getting a huge opportunity. You're not getting a lot of minutes. And I've had that role before where you're trying to come in and, make something happen so you can stay out on the floor. And it's a tough because the starters are playing so well, but you can't play with 7 guys. I mean, New Mexico got beat last night. They only played 7 guys and they got no bench production. You got to develop those guys come March when you're playing 3 games in 3 days and it's, 38 minutes and 35 minutes. And then, Saturday's the championship during the day. I know that feeling. I mean, it's going to take a toll on you. You're going to have an eighth guy, 3 guys at least on the bench that are contributing.
Tyson Degenhart, 35 minutes. Chibuzo Abo, 34. Max Rice, 34. Najee Smith, 33. And then Marcus Shaver Jr., 32. And if he hadn't, gone out with the ankle injury for 4 minutes, he would have been in the 35, 36 range as well. You mentioned Jace Whiting, what you're getting off the bench from him. You had 8 minutes from Lucas Milner. Silla got a couple minutes in there. Pavle had 2 minutes, I think. Kobe Young had a couple. I know that Sada is still battling back from the ankle injury that he suffered a couple games ago. But who else on the bench can be that guy? Who do you see as a guy that's ready to start contributing more?
I mean, the mind-blowing thing is those guys you just mentioned would start at the majority of Division I schools in the country. I mean, you look at Sada and Mo and Milner and Kobe Young and Pavle, they would start on more than 180 of the Division I schools in the country. So you have the talent there, and then the coaching staff has a tough job of trying to incorporate it and blend it and not mess with rhythm and get other guys confidence and play it. But there's only a certain amount of minutes that go around, and I know the practices are heated because those guys are trying to battle.
And I mentioned the nitpicking. I mean, Tyson Degenhart, we love the dude. He's, maybe their best player. And I think it's probably encouraging that they're winning some of these games without him, maybe being at his best. And so I know there's more to get to, but he goes 0 for 5 from 3-point range again last night. He came in shooting 28%. Before the season, Leon said, he improved his 3-point shot. All he did all summer was work on his 3-point shot, and he was going to go from good to great. Comes out in the exhibition game, goes 3 for 3, and you're like, okay, man, this guy might shoot 50% from 3. It's just not been there yet. What are you seeing from him from the outside shooting? He's hit, front rim on some of these, and he had one that was an air ball last night. As a shooter, I guess when you're a good shooter and they're just not falling for a 2-month period, really like it has for him. What do you see in there, and how does he try to get going from the outside?
He'll get on the gun at practice and keep shooting and shoot himself out of it. I mean, it's such a small sample size. I know Max last year started 0 for 20, and it's like, people are like, oh my gosh, you can make 20 shots in a row. You can miss 20 shots in a row. There was open gyms this summer where Tyson against defenders made 23s in a row while playing against defenders. I mean, he's just that type of shooter, and you miss a few, you got to keep shooting. I mean, you make 4 in a row and all of a sudden the percentages change. So you can't even think about the last game. It's here and now. And all the focus is now to Saturday, and I hope we get a sellout. Leon said that there's 11,000 tickets out. So if we could get that thing sold out 4:30 with Utah State coming on Saturday, I mean, that is going to be wild.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But if there ever was a perfect scenario for a big crowd and a big game, I mean, 4:30 on a Saturday is certainly it. But, you mentioned, it seemed like last year, later in the season, especially when they the one thing they miss, I think, with Kejab was he was just when you really needed a bucket in crunch time or needed somebody to get to the foul line, like they would just get. I mean, there was sometimes where they would give the ball to Kejab, 10 possessions in a row down in the paint or wherever, and just let him that kind of do his thing. And I feel like Tyson could be that guy and has been at times, but I feel like he needs. And I was talking to our friend Travis Hawks actually this morning about this, but it just seems like Tyson could be a little more assertive and maybe could become that guy. We saw it early in the game with a couple of the post-ups, but do you feel Tyson could be a little more aggressive at times, especially down in the paint? Because you saw at one point last night, I forget when it was, but he posted the guy up, and then they end up kicking it out and swinging it around, and Abo got a wide open 3. I mean, it seems like when the offense runs through Tyson, especially down in the paint, that might be when this team's at its best.
I think so. Then you're kicking it out and you're posting up and you're getting blow-bys with Najee or Shaver, or I always say Buzo, you say Abo, but he can get to the line more. I think the goals for these guys should be aggressive and try to get to the free throw line. That'll be ways to get easy buckets. We can't be shooting 7 free throws in a game and expect to beat some of these top teams. And, the refs let them play a lot last night, which I'm not against, but we have to get to the free throw line and be aggressive. And they move the ball well. There's no one selfish on the team. I mean, everybody wants, everybody's cheering for everybody, and the chemistry's there, and it's fun to watch.
23 combined fouls is all it was, and 14 combined free throws. Both teams only each had 7 free throws. So save the stat sheet, because I don't know if we'll get another one like this all year in terms of that. And I agree with you. As long as it's even for both teams, I'm fine with it. Let it go. But you mentioned no bench. The lack of a center, too, has hurt them at times, or a true center. I know Naj is doing all he can. Tyson's doing all he can down there. Obviously, the winning streak started when they made the switch. But you saw last night when you get a quality big man in there, Diallo, the Ohio State transfer. I mean, back-to-back alley-oops to start the game. He had a couple thunderous putback dunks. To me, I still think you're going to have to get more from Milner and Mo Silla. Is it sustainable playing small like this, or what do you make of the lack of production at center? Because you only had a combined, let's see, basically about 11 minutes, and you had 3 rebounds and no points from the 2 big men last night.
Milner and Mo are going to get more minutes, and they just got to stay ready and, be solid when they're in there, get rebounds, have awareness on where help side is, and, pick and roll defense. They try to spread those guys out, get them away from the hoop. But, Malad Narmouche was really good at the pick and roll defense and, setting screens and being a catch and finish guy. And they're going to work into it. I mean, they're going through new roles this year, and obviously they didn't get the minutes last year that some of the others did, but guys are getting improved. I mean, you look at Max compared to last year. I mean, he's a whole nother person, confidence-wise, demeanor-wise, and then also Najee. I mean, he's improved night and day from last year. So everybody's getting there. It's early January.
Couple quick comments from the fans here watching before we get out of here. Matt, on the ICCU YouTube chat, Michael says, is it bench play or coaching when you're not finding productive combinations out there?
It's tough because when it's working, you kind of want to go with the guys who got you there and the guys who you feel comfortable with. So as a coaching staff, it's a really hard predicament. And on the bench, it's hard to stay ready. And, sometimes you're sitting there for an hour straight and then you get put in the game and, it's a tough scenario. And that's why, it's a hard combination to play it. But guys are going to have their nights. I mean, it might be Kobe one night who comes in and gets 12 points off the bench, or it might be Jace or Sada's back, or Milner. He had a huge Mountain West game, so conference game. It's just the guys are that good. I mean, they're going to come in and the fans are going to be like, whoa, he did really good. But, I mean, every day in practice, that's what they're doing.
Rudy says maybe Degenhardt having to guard the other guy's big man took a toll on him. Is that a tough effort thing for him to have to battle down there?
No question. I mean, he's 6'8", and he's outmatched in every single game, and it works to our advantage on offense because he can spread the defense and get by guys off the dribble. But, I mean, he's posting up 6'11" guys and guarding 6'11" guys. It's a tall task.
Nate talks about Max Rice here. Nice to see him get back on track offensively. The mid-range floater is nasty. You obviously are a guy that's followed Max's career. You're neighbors with Max, know him pretty well, obviously. But just to see where he's come in his career, man, from a guy that some people questioned whether or not he even deserved to come on the team, because his dad's a coach. I mean, all that kind of stuff when he first came to now. Then he becomes a starter. And now he's not just some 3-point shooter, man. He's scoring in the paint. He's scoring. I mean, his all-around game to me has just been fascinating to see how it's developed the last couple of years. What's your take on who Max has become as a player here?
I mean, the fans see the offense and he's hitting shots and he's hitting floaters, which some of those floaters, in my opinion, are level difficulty 10, and he makes it look so easy, or his post-up game because he's long. But what I'm most impressed with is his defense, diving on the floor, getting rebounds, doing all the intangibles that I tried to do as a player that doesn't get noticed by all the fans, but you take them off the court and now they go on a 6-0 run. And on the stat sheet, you don't see it, but he's that guy. And Boise State's had a lot of those guys over the years that, are kind of the glue that can do so many different things.
So it moves to Utah State on Saturday. They are the number 1 ranked 3-point shooting team in America, not the Mountain West, America, over 41% from 3-point range. Boise State comes in top 20, defending the 3, even though the 2 previous games, by the way, that was a key last night. They only gave up 4 of 21 from 3-point range when San Jose State had a couple of guys that were shooting above 40%, I believe, coming in. So it had hurt them in the previous 2 losses. Santa Clara, Nevada, they gave up 10 threes and lost each of those games. They did better last night, and they get the win. So Utah State, man, coming in top number 21 right now in the net. So this is a quad 1 game, at least as of now, for both teams. I know it's, again, an early season game, but you got to go to UNLV next week, and they're probably going to be upset because they might be 0-3 if they lose to New Mexico on Saturday. You're going to have a ticked off UNLV team next week. Then you go to Wyoming, and then you got Nevada back at home. I mean, there's no gimmies in this league, but it seems like Boise State still, according to the current numbers, does not have a quad 1 win. They've got 4 quad 2 wins, but it's a big game on Saturday to really kind of get to 2-1, get back on track here in the Mountain West, and also keep trying to bolster that tournament resume.
Where we don't score, in the high 70s and 80s, typically running them off the 3-point line Saturday is going to be crucial. I mean, you just do the math. If they're shooting 40% on 10 possessions, I mean, that's 12 points 1.2 points per possession. You got to shoot 60% from twos to match that kind of efficiency on threes, not to mention the long rebounds when you shoot threes, that it's a lot harder to, get your own glass when it's long threes coming up. So running them off the 3-point line, trying to get them off that and away from their comfort zone is going to be the task. And the good thing is we are quick. We switch a lot of stuff, and a lot of guys can guard multiple positions, which is why we're one of the top defensive teams in the country.
That's too much math for me, man, for 11 a.m. here, but it's impressive stuff. And you look at the Ken Palm numbers, Utah State is number 17 offensively, and
Wow.
Boise State is number 16 defensively. So 2 top 20 matchups here. They're number 5 in the country. Utah State is an effective field goal percentage. And as I said, number 1 in the country in 3-point percentage. So Boise State, though, they're, number let's see, they're number 19 against the 3. So it's 2 top 20 matchups there, and should be a lot of fun. And as somebody mentioned here, they said they're only, Jordan says, only counting 129 seats left in the lower bowl. And then you mentioned 11,000. I was looking in the upper deck. The first couple of rows, pretty much all the way around, are going to be gone there as well. Leon did mention, after the game, needing a sellout. As I said, 4:30 afternoon game. It's perfect. I mean, this would really be the time where you'd think, and I think the crowd can make a difference. Saturday is a huge game, and we'll see it. We'll see what the turnout is.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Saturday is going to be great. I mean, that's what college basketball is all about. 2 top teams coming to town, and we're going to be 2-1, and I hope Utah State's going to be 2-1 after they lose to us.
A final thing before we let you go, Matt, we did get a chance to meet our contest winner last night, Greg McVeigh. I wanted to give him another congratulations. He thought I was messing with him. He came down and showed me the email, and he's like, "Is this really you, or is one of my buddies messing with me?" And I said, "No, you won I said, "That's you, man. You won the contest. Congrats." I'd never met him before last night, but the fact that he was at the game last night wearing Boise State gear shows the fan that he is. And so I know we're going to have fun next week. And I wanted to publicly thank you, Matt, for your team putting that video together, for helping push this, and also being a part of this and agreeing to go on the trip. And I know it's going to be a fun couple of days next week down in Vegas.
Yeah, next week's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Greg came up to me last night. I was able to meet him, and it's going to be fun. We're going to be outnumbered, the Boise State guys in Vegas, but hopefully we can get a win. The last time I was in the Thomas and Mack Center, they were cutting down the nets with the championship. So I have some good memories there.
We were talking how we got to put a new intro video together for you, and I just realized I do have a clip on my phone somewhere of like you hugging either Leon or one of the coaches on the court after that game. So we may have to throw that into the intro video and maybe leave out the infamous play from last year too. But hey, we appreciate it, Matt, as always. Thanks again. Hopefully folks will check out BauscherRealEstate.com for all their real estate needs. I know you guys are available and ready and at the phone to help them buy or sell their next home. And any other plugs you want to throw in for the business here?
No, we love to help people. Call us. We're there 7 days a week for all their real estate needs.
BauscherRealEstate.com. We'll do this again next Wednesday, Matt. We're going to try 9 a.m. if we can, or at least a more set time moving forward so folks can kind of know when we're going to be on and make this part of their daily, weekly viewing. But appreciate you as always, Matt, and appreciate all the fans and everybody for watching this. Big one on Saturday at Extra Mile Arena. Hopefully we'll see y'all there 4:30, Boise State and San Jose State. I'll be back 9 a.m. tomorrow with Mike Prater. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.